What's up, agents, and welcome back to another Division video. We have got a 29-minute read ahead of us. Hopefully it doesn't take that long, but the huge patch notes are here for Year 5 Season 3 Vanguard. I have not checked them out yet. Obviously, I think loads of us watched the live stream before, so we've caught the main details. But what I am wondering is what is in here that they didn't talk about. They did say they'd not covered everything. Some stuff was just going to be in here. I'm just wondering if we're going to get any nice surprises. I'm not going to go into it in uber detail. I'm kind of going to do a bit of flicking, but I'll give you my thoughts along the way. And then obviously you guys can give me your thoughts down below in the comments. Before we get started, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And let's get going. Right. Okay. So Year 5, Season 3 Vanguard. I'll put a link for this down below as well. I couldn't find them. They didn't put it in the Trello, and it wasn't on Twitter or X, so I was a little bit confused. But luckily enough, Alpine hooked me up. He found them already in my Discord server, so definitely worth joining the Discord because you get up-to-date information quicker than even I get it. So that's cool. So Kelso's new look, pretty sick. Love the knives around the arm and stuff. So this is going to be all about her this season. We don't need to read any of this, but this is the content. So we've got the Vanguard Manhunt, the calendar, gear, weapons and talents, descent, Project Resolve stuff, apparel event, and season pass. Okay, so there's Kelso. This is the calendar. It looks super light, but it's just the same as always. The global events aren't showing in it, so there's not much to worry about here. But what is very, very different, and they mentioned this in the live stream, these are not targets this time. Obviously you'll recognize these as places that we have in New York. So basically we're going to go to the Civic Center tomorrow and we're going to trace Kelso, and it's a twist on basically how they did the manhunt. So like last time we were saving people rather than killing them like we did the previous times. So hopefully it plays out. Hopefully it plays out well. Maybe we see some things in different orders, some new parts. Fingers crossed that this kind of works well. Because you know it's the only kind of content we're getting for now anyway, apart from changes and new gear and things like that. 2 apparel events, one being a brand new one and then one being a rerun, and this was the one that they ran as Warlords of New York went live. They did talk about this. There was a little bit of a trailer. The trailer was very much reminiscent of the original trailers for Warlords of New York. If you remember them, they were all kind of anime style. There was even like some mini story cartoons and things, animes that you could watch before they brought out Warlords of New York. And this new trailer matched up exactly the same to that. Daria kind of hinted that it reminded her of something, and I kind of think that was the path that she was going down. But I guess we will see tomorrow. So, gear, weapon, and talents. Now, we know a lot about this already. We've gone through patch notes for PTSs, so we're not going to spend too much time on it unless there's something that very specifically, stands out. So, first of all, we've got the Mosquito. Hitting an enemy, apply stacks. Stacks are shared between players, but at 10 stacks, the enemy will forcefully target the last player to stack it for 5 seconds. So, it's definitely, hate control, hate mechanics, and things like that. I'm not necessarily too sure why we need this in the game. Has no functionality in PvP, so that's something to remember there as well. Yeah, I mean, maybe for lower level parties and newer players where they might be struggling with some kind of mode in the game perhaps, or a boss fight or a legendary, and they've got a tank player and the tank could use this to pull hate. But I think for most of us that are min-maxed, I don't think there really is going to be a place for this. But future content, new strategies, who knows? We're spending too much time on it. It looks cool though, so let's move on. The exotic gloves. Now, we've not seen any, we've not been able to test these at all. They're apparently bugged in the PTS, so we'll be able to try these out. But the 50% recall penalty when hip firing and recall penalty when blind firing, I guess we will see. We'll crack out the Merciless, give it a go and see if they're any good. And then we've got the new gear. So we've got the Aegis gear set, 2-piece giving us 70% health. Because this patch really is all about health. 3-piece giving 15% total armor. That's pretty interesting. And then we've got the new unique talent that unlocks. And again, this is definitely to do with the pistol above. So you get 3% damage resistance for every enemy that is targeting you. the bonus is multiplied by 1x, where x is the number of agents in the group. So 4 agents, you get 4x worth. 1.4 worth. And, you know, this could be pretty good. It could work out well. I don't know. I didn't really get a chance to test this because it really does need a group of you to test it. And when I was on the PTS, I only ever tested all the solo stuff. So I guess we'll see if this is any good in comparison to the Foundry Bulwark stuff that we've got. Foundry Bulwarks are so good, and it's getting a buff as well. So I don't really see how this is going to be better. Cause this is, you know, like what seems to be happening is, you know, stuff we've got already is great. This has something that you need to do to activate it. It doesn't naturally activate. And that, you know, unless that buff's really good and much better than Foundry Bulwark, no one's going to ever bother activating it. And, you know, that seems to be the problem that we're having. We get these really good talents that come along, but they, you know, require some kind of process for you to activate them. And then they get dumbed down before they get into the real game. And the original stuff is just better. So I guess we will see. You know, I don't want to judge. I feel like I'm judging, but until it gets in the game, we you know, sometimes patch notes can be deceiving. So then we've got the Palisade Steelworks brand set, which is armor on kill by 10%, 60% health, and then a skill tier. And this could work out pretty nice. The hybrids seem to be making a bit of a comeback this patch as well. So we're able to, you know, reach 6 skill tiers, but, you know, keep 4 red still, you know, with some of the new guns and new changes to talents. So be interesting to see how that works. And then we've got the chest with the perfect explosive delivery and perfect tamper proof. This was pretty fun in the PTS. Maybe, you know, some definite door camping, you know, for easy door camping and crowd control. So I guess we'll see some interesting builds with that. This costume is pretty nice. I'm liking the look of it. So then we've got the behind you stuff, and I think this has just been killed. You know, I think they've nerfed this into the ground. Yes, I agree. It was super powerful in the PTS, and it's still pretty powerful. You know, 20% amplified damage is nothing to sniff at. But I think they've just hit it too hard. And when it comes into the game tomorrow, the descriptions will be wrong, but these are the actual values, and it'll only roll onto rifles and MMR. You won't be able to use it on, you know, everything like you could in the PTS. So I guess we will see, but, you know, again, like it's that big swing of momentum. The pendulum came into the PTS and it was awesome. You know, the M16 named was one of the almost best in slot guns, and I'm talking about the M16, and that's crazy, the 3-round burst gun. And now it's just going to be back at the bottom of the pile. And if anything, I would have liked a little bit of change. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean for it to be some kind of overpowered crazy change. It would just be nice if these seasons brought a bit more of a mixed bag for us to change the way we played. Right, so Descent, though, we're going to move on. So the Vindicator exotic rifle is going to be available in the store. People who play Descent can probably just going to be able to buy it straight away. That did have its damage taken down. It's still pretty substantial, 40%. But what I am wondering is, you know, considering you have to hit certain body parts and enemies will stand behind walls and then you can't hit the legs, and if the legs is highlighted, that could cause problems. Is the 40% really worth it? But I guess, you know, against just a plain M1A with flatline, I'm not sure. But I guess we'll see. I'm guessing not. I think this needs to be a little bit more for it to outdo that. But, you know, we're not going to be able to tell until tomorrow. And then we've got Project Resolve. Conflict. They've extended the loot pool. Dropped items are now legendary difficulty quality. This is a really nice change. Really nice change. Now, I don't necessarily like playing Conflict too much. But the fact that legendary loot is going to come for it is pretty crazy. Cashies now give 2 items as well. Really nice. They're going to give it a huge XP game, which is cool. Alright, so then they've got the SHD and expertise normalization. All players joining Conflict will have their expertise and SHD bonuses removed. They could have kept SHD in. That would have given PvP people a reason to grind. Expertise, I agree with. That's a huge grind, but that's definitely going to make things more of a level playing field. What I can't remember, and I've had to just restart the video, is that if rounding down or rounding up is the best way to compare stats. It's been a while since we had to deal with it, you know, PvP rounding. And I know one way is worse than the other for sure, because that would mean that you have to have, you know, more than one piece of equipment. But I guess we'll see tomorrow when that goes live. And if it is an issue, I'll definitely make a video on it. So then we've got the dark zone. Going rogue in the normal dark zone now takes 3 seconds. It was super quick before, and the first rogue rank has had its time duration increased. They've had the diminishing returns for status effects, so that's going to be interesting to see. But it doesn't apply in PvE, it only applies in PvP. And essentially the whole idea of that is so that, you know, people can get out of bind quicker. They're not going to burn and poison themselves to death really quickly. And it's going to hopefully extend the time to kill a little bit and, you know, bring a bit more skill to them PvP fights. Also, Plague of Outcast gets hit with that as well, but again, PvP only. And status effects are now removed if the source is killed after a short delay, and that's really good as well. So, you know, you can't have the glass people just going out, you know, trying to perhaps bind and get, maybe, you know, not too fussy to get themselves killed, but they're trying to bind the team so that the teammates can kill them. You know, that kind of gameplay is going to be removed. You know, they've got to think about what they're doing a little bit more. Again, hopefully extending the time to kill in fights a little bit and, you know, making it a bit more skill based. I guess we'll see how that plays out, and we'll see what the PvP players think about it. The immobilizing status effects, so they've reduced the severity of them as well. Again, PvP only. Burn damage has been taken down. Bleed resistance as well. And then repair skills now give 50% hazard protection. And that is huge, because that's going to change builds. That's going to change perhaps the need for not needing a healer too much. This is crazy. So this is going to be interesting to see how PvP plays out. The booster hive cleanses poison, which is great, and they've added the duration up a little bit as well. And then we've got the sticky EMP, and they've reduced the explosive damage as well. These are all going to be really welcome changes for all PvP players, I think, and they'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So then we had some talent changes. So Sadist is now amplified weapon damage by 20% to bleeding enemies, and it's nice that they've finally got this description right. After 4 kills, it applies a bleed, and I mean, I would only ever use this if I could constantly apply bleed. I don't want to have to wait for 4 kills to apply bleed, because you think, all right, that might be okay when you're playing solo, but if you're playing the team, you know, then you run out of 4 kills in an area. You know, I don't like this type of talent unless I can constantly apply the status effects, and unfortunately this talent pool definitely is growing, because you can see at the bottom with the brand new one, the Thunderstrike talent, that's now been changed, and that works in the same kind of way. You know, 4 kills is a lot. I think it's a lot. I think it could probably be 2 and 3, you know, but I guess we'll see how it works out. So weapon talents now have had things changed up, and this is some of the more interesting stuff. Future Perfection is really good for these hybrid builds. I talked about it a little bit before. I can't wait for that. Perfect Preservation now repairs 15% over 5 seconds, which is really cool. Swift is now 20 seconds of weapon damage for the Stinger, but I mean, it's not something many people use. Then we have the Thunderstrike change, which we talked about, the Perfect Thunderstrike one that we changed as well. Flatline weapon damage by 15% to pulsed enemies. So this remains unchanged really, because nobody ever counts on the kills to pulse enemies here. But I don't like how they've upped these from 3 to 4. I really don't, and I don't know why they felt the need to do that. It's strange. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Big Game Hunter, this is going to be really good. This has had a nice little buff. so we'll see what that is going to be like. It's definitely going to make using that gun, you know, that exotic, much more worthwhile, but it's got a really short mag, and I think that's what lets it down, but I guess we'll see what that's like. And then Breathe Free with Lady Death. Now I forgot what's going on here, so let's just take a bit more of a... So before we're moving, game 4 stacks per second and 8 stacks if sprinting. That stayed the same, but max stack is equal to the weapon's magazine size, and it was up to 32 stacks. Right, so they've made it dependent on magazine size, and obviously we have some gear that extends magazine size. Maybe they're trying to encourage that to be used, and therefore using the Lady Death could be pretty crazy. Definitely going to be trying some builds out with this. I think this could be fairly good, but I guess we will see. And then the St. Elmo has had the magazine shock ammo change, but PvP only, and it probably could have done with being even lower. Intimidate getting a buff, it's going to be great, definitely worth checking out. And Cassie definitely does need to be able to sell that named perfect Intimidate chest piece. Lots of people are going to want that now. This is really good. Obliterate's been extended a little bit, which is nice. And then they've nerfed the fireworks show for the festive delivery, which in PvP, and I really do think that is a really good choice. But again, descriptions will be wrong in the game, and that's not going to be till 20.2, so that's going to be a little while. So I'll put the link for this down below in the description. You might actually need this to refer to for a few weeks. Then weapons, so really good change here. All exotic weapons third attribute is going to be reconfigurable, and a lot of people are going to be doing that and digging a lot of exotics out of the stash to play with, because you can now put damage target out of cover on the bottom. And the Carbine 7 and the Stoner LMG are now going to come with random talents. It's such a long overdue change. You know, that's really good. We've got some big changes for the assault rifles. We've gone over these, you know, since the PTS, so we're not really going to go over them too much. But big shout out to the F2000 here. That's really going to be stand out. The shield splinterer is going to be awesome. So that's definitely my favorite there. Then we've got some huge LMG changes as well. If I can find where it is. The L86 here, we're getting the 20% weapon damage buff. I tried this out in the PTS. It was excellent. Definitely one to be looking out for. SMGs are really good. It's not in this list, but the Chatterbox at full stacks is going to be catching up with your Incursion exclusive exotic. Definitely one to be checking out. And it's kind of nice to get the extra mags and the extra magazine size in the MP5. I didn't really do too much testing here, but yeah, the UMP extra 10% damage could be pretty crazy as well. So definitely another couple to check out. Rifles kind of stay where they are. I'll definitely just be sticking with the M1A, even though it's not had any changes. The M16 with the 30% damage is cool and all that, but it's still not going to be up there. The behind you, perfect behind you being changed is pretty much put it back down again. So, but we're checking some of these out, and the Ruthless and the Merciless got a 10% weapon damage buff, which will be interesting to see how that works, especially with them crappy new exotic gloves. Marksman rifles, I mean, this is pretty cool. The Tactical 308 is going to be great now. Absolutely, definitely check that one out. And the M700 is going to be awesome as well. So definitely check that out if you've not used them before. You know, the White Death is going to be taking a step back, and the M700 I think is going to be top tier. Brand set changes that we've got here, we're not really going to talk about these too much because they really don't do too much. It's kind of nice for people who are new to the game, but as of right now, I can't really see myself using, you know, anything any different. You know, I think it's a little bit odd, some of these changes, but they were very committed in keeping things where they were and just increasing the values, and that is exactly what they have done. Let's just move past the gear really quickly. I mean, the Seska 90% health with the Ninja bike is kind of nice. That's definitely one to look out for, because you get 10% from your watch and it makes it 100%, you know, extra health, and that's crazy good. Health can get up to some really serious values now. System corruption, a bit of a change, but again, I don't really feel like that's going to do anything. The Hunter's Fury has had the health on kill reduced, probably because of the Seska situation. So there's that to consider as well. But it actually doesn't do much difference anyway. It's still really good, and you're still going to be pretty unkillable unless you're around a lot of machines. So I really don't think that the change was really the change that they needed to make, if that's what they were intending to do. Foundry Bulwark just gets a bit of a buff, makes it really, really nice. So that's going to make that tank set even better, and nothing that people have to change. They can just continue to use it as normal. Jarl, Araldi, Provi, and Sokolov got no changes whatsoever. And I really kind of think that Jarl could have done with a bit of a change, but it is what it is. And then Providence, Araldi, and Sokolov. Well, these sets are all just really good anyway. And this is a little bit what I was talking about before. That we end up just going back relying on the old sets, because the new ones, when they come in, they're either so weird and wonderful to activate, or they've got a weird and wonderful combination, and the old ones are just better. Leaderboards are going to be wiped. This was a bit of a shock surprise. Now, I know that might upset some people that have been top of the leaderboard for a long time, but they are absolute chaos leaderboards, so I kind of agree that it's time to wipe them, let them go again, and it'll give them more of an opportunity to see, I guess, where people are still hacking, people are doing weird stuff. So let's go for it for now. The season pass daily project now gets an exotic component, whereas that was originally said that it was going to happen, then it was removed, and now it's back. And it's same with the weekly one as well. They've added some new missions into the daily and weekly pool as well. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff doing. Projects are definitely worthwhile doing nowadays for materials and some caches and things like that, and obviously the exotic component. That's more stuff basically, and all the new rewards for all that. We don't want to go over them. The link's down below in the description if you want to have a look. But like I said, there's quite a lot in here. Exotic cache, crafting blueprints, and things like that. So this is kind of cool. But this is the weekly summit project. So that's actually going to give a Recal cache. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, exotic cache. But yeah, so definitely check out the new projects. We're going to get a little bit more bang for our buck. Then we couldn't test any of these, but they've made some serious changes to global events, and some of these changes are really, really significant, because what they're trying to do, essentially, what it feels like they're trying to do anyway, is make everything feel as good as Golden Bullet does, right? Golden Bullet never really feels like you're on the downside of the game. It really feels like it's trying to make you more powerful, more fun, etc, etc, etc. And that's kind of all the changes that they've done here with these. And you can see with Guardians now, when killing an angel, in addition to restoring armor to full, you get 50% extra bonus armor. They've increased the damage from 30 all the way up to 50. The minions now receive 15% of incoming damage instead of becoming invincible, which is such a welcome change, because the Guardian always ran to the back. And the damage buff is up for 15 seconds instead of 10, letting you, hopefully chain it for a little bit longer. And that's just really, really cool. So hopefully, these changes are going to make the GEs feel a bit more worthwhile. Look at Hollywood here. They tripled the explosion range. They tripled the explosive damage. They finally fixed the VFX, which has been broken for as long as I can remember. And the explosions generate signature ammo. Well, hello, Tip of the Spear and all that's recent changes. Maybe Tip of the Spear will become the GE set to use. So a lot of stuff here, again, Reanimated. Reanimated is already really good, but they've tripled the explosion range. They've increased the explosive damage by 50%, and they made the headshots 50% weaker. So, well, the headshot weakness was increased by 50%, essentially making us 50% more powerful. So some really good changes here in the global events, and can't wait to see them when they come around. They finally added commendations to some things as well. Some of them being Paradise Lost. I believe they'd added them for Countdown as well in the PTS. So there's them to check out as well. And there's, some of these commendations look pretty tough. But what Yannick did say is that they've finally figured out how to redo commendations, which is great. So it means that they're going to add them, retrospectively for older content that's kind of missed out on them. And, we'll finally get them commendation hunters back in the game, which is it's kind of cool. That's never really been my thing, but that's really good. Open world crates now scale with world difficulty at last. No more purple rubbish. And they've added the option has been added to the display, the item count and the stash when approaching it. A bit of a quality of life one there. I don't need to know that, mine's always full. They finally capped the SHD watch so that cheaters no longer prosper from that and have more health than armor. So that is really, really good. So that's definitely a needed change. That's nice to see. Inventory. I got all excited for a minute when they talked about this. They said stash, and they were just talking about seeing, you know, how much is in the stash. And I was like, oh, this is not what I want to hear. I wanted stash space, bro. So the Recal station has been reworked, and that's now the tinkering station. I'm hoping that has been reworked from the PTS. It was pretty difficult to get around, to be honest, and some of the UI seemed to be in the wrong place. Like it was in the bottom right rather than the top right. It was all a little bit odd. The scrolling wasn't working very well, so I'm kind of hoping that they've made some improvements to that UI. But it does mean that you can recal things wherever you are in the world. You can do your expertise wherever you are in the world. You don't have to go to the base of operations anymore to do any of that. Expertise has been made way cheaper. Hooray, this is great. And that's across the board as well for leveling them up. So right from the very start of leveling up a weapons expertise, it is just really cheap in comparison now to what it actually was. A lot of people are going to be able to get guns up to 24, you know, definitely. Recal has changed a little bit because they kind of merged the library and things like that. So you can no longer optimize over something that you've got stored in your library, so pay close attention to that. And I hope you all watched my video a few weeks back that said get your library maxed out now. It's going to be worth it, because now tomorrow you are going to pay the price if you've not got, you know, something, you know, you want to optimize up to 12% for critical hit damage. If you only got 11 stored in your library, you're only going to be able to optimize up to 11. But anything that you've already got optimized over that will still, they're not taking that away, so you have nothing to worry about in that regard. They've done some UI improvements. I hope that's what I was talking about before. You can now instantly use armor kits as well, just by tapping the armor use button rather than holding it, which is kind of a nice, again, hopefully might play out very well in PvP and just make them fights a little bit more interesting. We've got the skill mod menu, and I made a little bit of a video about that. Be sure to go and check that out, because a bit of a PSA, because we really don't know how this is going to go, because it says when a superior skill mod is acquired, it'll automatically replace the existing one, resulting in the deconstruction of the inferior mod. And what we've got to think about there is that, is this a character-based system or is it a account-based system? Because if you've got max mods on your alt characters, when they log in, they're going to claim that mod into the, you know, into this new system. And does that mean you can use it across all your characters? We'll find out tomorrow. And it brings a lot of issues, that, so do go and check out the video. It's not, you know, this has got the potential not to be as straightforward as we think. I think people might end up losing mods. Descent now is a lot quicker. They basically, you know, cut a loop off. You can be able to get to the Nemesis at level loop 4 instead of loop 5, making it probably about 10 minutes quicker, which is kind of nice. We've got all the new stuff in the NSA store, the new exotic rifle, and the costumes are all in there as well, so they'll be in there. They're pretty expensive as well though, so if you've not been playing any Descent, you're going to have some grinding to do there as well. And the new rotation of the talents, which I'm not a massive fan of, because some of the combinations of talents are a bit naff, but I mean, what were they going to do? There's always going to be at least one rubbish group of talents in comparison to others. But yeah, that's it for that. They fixed the issue with the Summit level 100 XP bug and various other improvements for Summit and Descent as well, and Countdown. And then there's a whole bunch of bugs that they've fixed as well. But it says here there should be an increase in quality of gear and in stats now across the board, especially on challenge and heroic difficulty. So that's pretty interesting. You know, maybe, so we've had a bug for a while that we didn't know about that was kind of capping our gear. That's definitely interesting. Skill mods of a higher level than the player can no longer be equipped, and that's definitely going to affect people who have level 40 mods equipped on level 30 characters, and that's been a thing for a long time. They fixed the issue from blueprints coming from reconstructed caches. That's kind of cool. The gift backpack was in the wrong section, so just a bunch of general bugs there that has been fixed. They fixed the corner sneaking glitch, so that's kind of gone as well. And they fixed the exploit where players could be invited to the end of the raid to obtain a specific key without any participation. Now that's a bit of an odd sentence. That's not really how it worked. You could invite someone at the end, they didn't get a key, but we could open the chest for them and they could then get the rewards because they're in the party obviously when we open the chest. So we'll see if that spoiled that or not, but because this reads a little bit weird. Apparel events. When the event is active, you can earn apparel. You can earn apparel cache keys in the game by leveling up your watch levels by unlocking different items through caches. So this hasn't really changed much. So I'm not sure why we're talking about that. Here's the brand new apparel event. I like the look of all of this. Very tactical. This is great. I like the look of this netting over the helmets. We've been asking for that hunter costume for a while. I don't know if Palais is watching this video, but if he is, we want that hunter costume from Countdown. And yeah, this is really good. And this counts around camouflage. I like this. I'll definitely be picking this up. This is a rerun. I've already got these, but again, this was all about the factions from Warlords of New York, which was really nice. The season pass, I kind of like this. Gives that Chinese vibe, but we're not getting that stuff from Chinese, but it does give that Chinese vibe. But I do like the look of that as well. We've got 9 weapon skins, 10 dyes, 2 new emotes, and 2 vanity outfits and a face mask. I'm not sure about this one, really, to be honest, but I mean, it's all right. In addition, new unique cosmetic bundles will be regularly added to the store. They kind of recycle a new one every 2 weeks, I think now. Players will get the looks of Keener Squad. Oh my god, that's huge. That is huge, absolutely huge. Because it does say it. There's Dragoff, there's Conley, there's Kajika, there's Farnell, and there's Rogue Agent himself, #1. We're going to get the Aaron Keener outfit. We have been waiting for this what feels like forever. And after coming off the back of getting the Recruiter one that was really cool, I cannot wait for this. I can't see myself taking this one off once I get this one, if it comes out how I think it's going to come out. So this is really cool, really cool. Definitely going to be looking out for that. So I'll definitely be doing a video. You can tell how excited I am. Probably my #1 thing in the patch notes. Right, that's going to be it. I've waffled enough. I hope that was a brief yet detailed enough look at the patch notes. I'll put the link in the description down below. Thank you for checking out the video. I hope maintenance doesn't go over tomorrow and you all get to jump in really quickly. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, agents. Goodbye.